And welcome back. Time for this week's Capitol Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. Pat, U.S. Representative Steve Russell, newly sworn into Congress, took some heat this past week for his support of the re-election of U.S. House Speaker John Boehner. Who's right, Russell or those on the right?
It's very interesting because I think I'm on the right, but
right.
critics,
far right.
critics have reasons to be frustrated with John Boehner. However, and I've been frustrated with Governor Fallin at times, and I've expressed that. At the same time, Congressman Russell has a strong point. This was wrong fight, wrong time, in my opinion. It's not like these folks came to him and asked, well, what's your perspective on this? And you want to be part of a coalition. And look, we have this unity candidate, to pull together the elements of the right. Quite to the contrary, they were very disorganized and didn't have a plausible alternative to the sitting speaker. So there was no way to unite behind one candidate. So it was an exercise in frustration in a lot of ways. There's a lot of meaty issues out there, and Russell talked about this in a statement. There's a budget, Keystone, energy export possibilities, the sequester, whether to do that again as a tactic, probably not, but it's an interesting discussion. There were 380 measures that passed the House of Representatives last year that never got a vote in the U.S. Senate. That's going to change with John Boehner and McConnell in charge. So I have sympathy to Congressman Russell's reply to his critics, and what can I say? I like a guy that can accurately cite the book of Daniel in the Old Testament
right.
to make a political point.
And he did that,
yeah.
Yes. All right, this week the State House and Senate both had their organizational days. Any surprises there?
None really in terms of personnel. However, I will say that Hickman has identified a couple of priorities, things we've mentioned and talked about in the past, and it looks like he's planning to work on those. Justice Reinvestment Act / corrections reform, doing something for corrections officers. That's big, and it looks like the stars are aligning for the train to pull out of the station on prison reform, at least I hope so. Secondly, he promised a close look at tax exemptions for business. Which ones are effective, which are not? Are they costing the state or the taxpayers too much money and therefore preventing further income tax relief? And he put David Dank in charge of the right committee to look at that issue. So the weakness of the Democrats in the Senate is one thing to linger on and watching it play out, because they're going to have to work hard to have an impact in the upper chamber. In lower chamber, they'll still have an impact, the Democrats will.
Okay. Finally, in the wake of the Charlie Hebdo massacre in Paris, you're remembering a cartoonist friend of yours.
Yeah, Jim Lange, the late Jim Lange, who I had the blessing and privilege of every day for 12 years approving his cartoons. And sometimes the best cartoons were the ones that I couldn't approve.
Right.
And that he even said, you might not like this one to actually get published, because some of them were really strong satire. But you know what? In a free society, you've got to have that kind of robust fun and ridiculousness, and even the ability to cross the line a little bit. And my heart's been bleeding thinking about what happened over there to the people's families and the whole country of France.
It's terrible. Well, you can read more about these and other topics at CapitolBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a great day.